Some secrets aren't hidden in safes or sealed in confidentiality agreements. They're hidden in the trembling of small fingers. In the way an 11-year-old girl counts her steps, 7 from the door to the table, always 7. In the weight of a father's silence every Tuesday morning, heavy as grief itself. Miller's diner smells like burnt coffee and yesterday's pie. Robert Harrison shouldn't be here. Billionaires belong in boardrooms, not cracked vinyl booths. But for 3 years, he's been coming. Same table by the window. Same companion, Lucy, his daughter who lives in darkness. Or so everyone believes. They create a ritual of quietness. He cuts her pancakes into 9 perfect squares. She counts them with her fingertips before eating. Her head stays bowed, sunglasses reflecting nothing, hands mapping the table's geography like reading braille that isn't there. The town tells their story in whispers. Catherine Harrison, golden and laughing, dead at 34. Lucy, 8 years old, burning with fever for 14 days. When the fever broke, her sight didn't return. The billionaire father who abandoned everything, merger meetings worth millions. Senators calling his phone to become his daughter's constant shadow. A beautiful tragedy. A father's devotion. A child's burden. But stories the town tells aren't always true. Maria Hernandez has been watching people for 15 years in this diner. She knows the grammar of grief, how it makes shoulders curve, how it lives in the space between words. She knows when a widow stops wearing her ring but keeps touching where it was. She knows when teenagers lie about where they've been. And she knows when a child is performing. This October morning, rain taps Morse code on windows. Maria brings coffee, the steam rising like a question mark. Robert scrolls through emails. Lucy sits statue still. Then it happens so quick Maria almost misses it. The steam drifts toward Lucy's face. Her eyes, behind those dark glasses, track its movement, follow its curl and dissipation, the way seeing eyes would. Maria's hand freezes on the coffee pot. Her heart hammers against ribs that suddenly feel too small. A blind child can't do that. But Maria stays silent, not knowing her silence will stretch 3 more weeks, pulled tight as piano wire, until the truth explodes in ways that will shatter and rebuild this family completely. Miller's Diner is one of those places that refuses to die. No artisan coffee, no avocado toast, no Wi-Fi password written on cute chalkboards. Just cracked leather seats that remember 30 years of conversations, and coffee strong enough to wake the dead. Maria started here when Rosa was still kicking inside her belly, when she believed a man's promises meant something. Now Rosa is 16, college applications spreading across their kitchen table like maps to a future Maria's tips and overtime will somehow fund. Her hands tell the story, burns from the coffee pot, cuts from broken dishes, skin dried from endless washing, but her eyes still see everything. She knows Mr. Baker orders eggs over easy but wants them over medium. Knows Mrs. Patterson pretends to read the same newspaper page for an hour every Sunday, really watching for her estranged son's car. Knows the Tuesday ritual of the Harrisons has become the diner's heartbeat. 8:15 arrival. Table 7. 45 minutes exactly. Robert Harrison wears his wealth like an apology. Old sweaters with holes at the elbows. Jeans worn soft as prayers. Tennis shoes that should have been thrown away 2 years ago. Only his watch, a Patek Philippe he probably forgot he's wearing, betrays who he really is, or was, before grief reorganized his priorities. Lucy moves through space like it might break. Each gesture calculated, rehearsed. The dark sunglasses never come off. Her fingers' drum patterns always the same pattern, 3-2-3 against her thigh when she thinks no one's watching. She's small for 11, made smaller by the way she curves into herself, a parenthesis around an unspoken question. The town has made them into mythology. The billionaire who chose love over money, the child who bears her blindness with grace. They don't see what Maria sees, the way Robert's jaw clenches when Lucy struggles with her fork, fighting the urge to help. The way Lucy tilts her head when someone new enters, not toward the sound but toward the movement. 3 years ago, when Catherine died, The whole town attended her funeral. Maria remembers Lucy in a black dress too big for her tiny frame, eyes wide and seeing, watching them lower her mother into the ground. 6 months later, the fever came like a thief, stealing what was left of normalcy. The specialists from Boston, the treatments in Switzerland, the experimental procedures in Japan, nothing worked. The verdict was final: traumatic optic neuropathy, irreversible. So Robert Harrison, who once bought companies before breakfast, now cuts pancakes into perfect squares. He reads the menu aloud even though they order the same thing every week. He describes the weather Lucy can feel on her skin. And every Tuesday, Maria watches this elaborate theater of love and loss, wondering why something feels wrong. Like a painting where the shadows fall in impossible directions. This morning, she's about to understand why. Because Lucy Harrison isn't blind, she's hiding, and the difference between those two things is about to destroy everything this father and daughter have built from the ashes of their grief. That first Tuesday in October carries the smell of leaves dying and rain coming. Maria's rotating through her usual morning dance coffee for table 3, check on table 5, avoid Joe's complaints from the kitchen when it starts. The thing that won't let her go. Robert's on his phone, voice low and professional, the ghost of the businessman he used to be. Lucy sits across from him, hands folded, a portrait of stillness. Maria approaches with the coffee pot, her shoes squeaking on linoleum that needs replacing. She pours Robert's coffee. Steam rises, lazy and hypnotic, and Lucy's head moves, not toward the sound of pouring, toward the steam itself. Her eyes, invisible behind those dark lenses, follow its path up and away. Maria freezes mid-pour, counts 3 heartbeats. Lucy must sense the attention because she turns away quickly, pressing her face against her father's shoulder. "Thank you, Maria," Robert says, distracted. Of course. But Maria's mind is spinning as she walks away. Maybe Lucy felt the heat. Maybe it's coincidence. Maybe Maria's been watching too many mystery shows with Rosa. The following Tuesday arrives crisp and bright. Maria's wiping down table 6 when her hand slips, sending a spoon clattering to the floor. The sound rings sharp as a bell. Robert doesn't look up from his tablet, but Lucy, her eyes dart down. Fast, precise, tracking the spoon's location before she catches herself and stares straight ahead again. Maria retrieves the spoon with shaking hands. "You okay?" Jenny asks, passing with a tray of dirty dishes. "You look like you've seen a ghost." "I think I'm seeing something worse," Maria mutters. "What?" "A lie." The third Tuesday brings revelation like a slap. A customer opens the door just as Lucy and Robert prepare to leave. Morning sun floods in, aggressive and sudden. Lucy doesn't just flinch, she squints. The specific squint of eyes reacting to brightness, pupils contracting. Then, realizing her mistake, she goes carefully blank. But Maria saw. And once you see something like that, you can't unsee it. That evening, Maria sits at her kitchen table, while Rosa does homework. She wants to speak, to share this burden that's growing heavier each day. But Rosa looks up with her father's eyes, the father who left when staying got hard, and Maria swallows the words. Some secrets aren't ours to tell, but some silences are too heavy to carry. She thinks about Lucy's careful movements, the practiced imprecision, the way she sometimes starts to reach for things before remembering to hesitate. It's not the behavior of someone who can't see. It's the behavior of someone pretending not to see. The question that keeps Maria awake that night isn't whether Lucy can see. She's certain now. The question is, why? What makes a child choose darkness? What fear is bigger than blindness itself? And does Robert know his daughter is performing for him every single day? Week 2 becomes a study in observation. Maria can't stop watching, even though each confirmation makes her stomach twist tighter. Lucy reaches for her water glass without searching. Not once does she miscalculate. Her hand moves straight and sure, fingers wrapping around the glass exactly where it sits. Robert sometimes places it left, sometimes right. Lucy never misses. "You're staring," Jenny says during the lunch rush. It's getting creepy. She can see Jenny. Who? Lucy Harrison. Number 4. Jenny laughs, but it's uncomfortable. That's not funny. I'm not joking. Thursday brings more evidence. A toddler races through the diner, crashes into a chair, sends his toy truck flying. The clatter is tremendous. Every head in the diner turns toward the sound except Lucy's. She looks toward the door where the child ran out, toward the motion, not the noise. "Maria, order up," Joe shouts from the kitchen. "Sometime today." But Maria can't focus. She's watching Lucy count her pancake squares 1 through 9, touching each with her fork before eating. Except she touches square number 6 twice. Because she can see she already touched it. Because she's correcting her own performance. Friday afternoon, Maria stands at the window washing already clean glasses, watching the Harrisons walk home. The sidewalk is littered with puddles from the morning rain. They approach a particularly large one. Robert hasn't noticed yet. His attention on Lucy, always on Lucy. But Lucy sees it. Before Robert can guide her, she adjusts her stride, begins stepping left. Then, catching herself, she waits for her father's gentle pull in the same direction, making it seem like his idea, his protection. The performance is flawless. And heartbreaking. "Maria, you're gonna scrub the pattern off those glasses," Joe calls out. She sets down the glass carefully, afraid she might break it. Her hands are trembling. That weekend, she researches childhood trauma, reads about conversion disorders, psychosomatic blindness, the mind's ability to shut down what it can't process. She reads until her eyes burn, until Rosa asks if she's okay, until she has to lie and say yes. But she also reads about recovery, about children whose sight returned gradually, about the brain finding new pathways around damage, about miracles that aren't really miracles, just biology refusing to give up. Monday night, she dreams about Lucy. Not the Lucy who performs blindness with such dedication, but the Lucy she must be when alone in her room. Does she read in secret? Draw? Look at pictures of her mother? Or does she practice being blind even when no one's watching, afraid that if she stops pretending for even a moment, the universe will notice and take something else away? Tuesday morning arrives heavy with purpose. Maria knows she can't watch this anymore, can't be complicit in whatever prison this child has built for herself. But confronting it means risking everything: Robert's trust, Lucy's safety, their fragile routine that might be the only thing holding them together. Sometimes seeing the truth is the easy part. Speaking it is what takes courage. Maria doesn't sleep Monday night. She lies in the darkness that Lucy pretends to live in, and the irony burns her throat like unshed tears. Rosa breathes in the next room 16 years of life in those breaths, 16 years of Maria protecting her from truth and lies alike. The ceiling fan wobbles, clicking on every third rotation. Click. Silence. Silence. Click. Like a heartbeat skipping. If Lucy can see, then what? The question multiplies in the darkness, becomes 100 questions, becomes a weight on Maria's chest. She thinks of Lucy's hands, always moving, always counting. 7 steps, 9 squares of pancake. The edge of the table traced again and again like a prayer or a prison. What kind of fear makes a child choose blindness? What kind of love makes a father blind to the choosing? Maria turns sideways, pulls her knees up, the position she slept in while pregnant with Rosa, when another man's child grew inside her and she pretended not to know he wouldn't stay. We all perform our roles. We all agree to believe each other's lies. But children shouldn't have to. At 2:47 in the morning, Maria remembers something. Last month, Lucy dropped her fork. The sound rang sharp in the quiet diner. Robert reached down to get it, but Lucy's hand was already there, finding it instantly in the exact spot it fell. Robert's face, Maria sees it now in memory, flickered with something. Knowledge? Suspicion? Or just a father's desperate need to not see what he was seeing? Maybe Robert knows. Maybe this is their mutual fiction. The thought makes Maria sick. She rushes to the bathroom, doesn't vomit, but wants to, stares at her reflection in the medicine cabinet mirror. 43 years old. Hands that have wiped 10,000 tables. Eyes that have seen too much. What am I supposed to do? She whispers to her reflection. The Maria in the mirror has no answer. Just tired eyes and graying roots she needs to touch up. 3:18. Maria gets her journal from the bottom drawer, under tax returns from 2019. She hasn't written in 2 years, not since Rosa's father sent that last check with no return address. She writes, October 10th, Lucy Harrison can see. October 17th, she tracked the steam. October 24th, reached for the glass without searching. October 31st, squinted at sunlight. November 7th, avoided the puddle before her father guided her. Each word feels like betrayal. Each word feels like freedom. What if I'm wrong? But worse, what if I'm right and do nothing? Dawn comes gray and reluctant. Maria hasn't decided anything, but she knows the way you know a storm is coming by the ache in old bones that today something will change. When Robert and Lucy walk through the door at 8:15, Maria's hands don't shake anymore. They've become steady as truth itself. Tuesday arrives with unusual warmth for November. Maria has a plan, small, careful, deniable if wrong. She carries the breakfast tray steadily until Jenny, rushing past with her own order, bumps Maria's elbow. The milk glass meant for Lucy lands 4 inches right of its usual spot. "Oh God, sorry," Jenny gasps. "It's fine," Maria says, but her attention is laser-focused on Lucy. Robert reads news on his tablet, absently murmuring about market fluctuations. Lucy sits perfectly still, hands folded in her lap, face turned toward the window where morning light plays through rain-spotted glass. "Your milk's there, sweetheart," Robert says without looking up, gesturing vaguely at the table. Lucy's hand moves. No hesitation, no searching. Straight to where the glass sits 4 inches right of normal. Her fingers wrap around it with the confidence of sight. Maria forces herself to keep breathing normally. "That table giving you trouble, Maria?" Joe calls from the kitchen. "You've been wiping it for 5 minutes." She moves away, but the confirmation sits heavy in her chest. There's no explaining this away, no maybe about it. Later, as the Harrisons prepare to leave, Mr. Baker enters with his walker. The rubber tip catches on the doorframe's worn metal strip. He wobbles, not falling, just unsteady for a moment. Lucy's body tenses. Her free hand rises instinctively, the natural response to seeing someone stumble. Then she forces it down, forces herself to stillness. But Maria saw the impulse, the body's honest reaction before the mind's careful control. That afternoon, Maria makes mistakes she hasn't made since her first week. Wrong orders, forgotten refills, coffee with sugar for someone who takes it black. "What's happening with you?" Jenny asks during the slow period between lunch and dinner. "You're somewhere else today." "Jenny, what if you knew something that could help someone, but telling it might hurt them too?" That's very specific and very vague at the same time. "I know." Jenny studies her. "Is this about the Harrisons?" Maria doesn't answer, which is answer enough. "Maria, leave it alone. Whatever you think you know." She can see, Jenny. The girl can see. And she's pretending she can't, and I don't know what to do with that. Jenny goes quiet. Then, maybe there's a reason. Maybe it's not our business. When is a child suffering our business? When we're sure we won't make it worse by interfering. That night, Maria calls in sick for Wednesday. First time in 6 months. She needs distance. Needs to think without Lucy's performed blindness in front of her. But distance doesn't bring clarity. It brings more questions. More weight. By Thursday, she knows she can't carry this alone anymore. Someone has to know. Someone has to act. The question is whether that someone should be her. The following Tuesday arrives painted in false spring warmth, November pretending to be April. Maria's decision sits in her stomach like swallowed glass. The morning rush fades by 9:30. Only scattered customers remain, Mr. Baker with his crossword, two young mothers comparing preschool horror stories. Robert takes a business call, his voice carrying the hollow authority of someone going through motions. Lucy eats with mechanical precision. Cut, pierce, lift, chew, swallow, repeat, like she's counting the movements. Maria approaches with the coffee pot, her eternal excuse for hovering. But this time, her voice doesn't waver. More coffee, Mr. Harrison? He glances up, covers the phone's microphone. Please, thank you. As she pours, she watches Lucy go rigid. The girl senses something different, the way animals sense earthquakes before they hit. Robert ends his call with empty promises to review something later. He sets the phone aside, rubs his temples. Mr. Harrison, Maria says before her courage evaporates. Could I speak with you? Privately? His expression shifts from tired to guarded. Is something wrong? Maria looks at Lucy, who has become a statue. Not wrong. Important. I don't leave Lucy alone. I'll be fine, Dad. The words come too fast, too sharp. Lucy's voice carries an edge like broken glass. Robert studies his daughter, then Maria. Something in Maria's face must convince him because he stands slowly, like his bones hurt. Just for a moment. They step outside. The sun feels aggressive after the diner's dimness. Robert positions himself where he can see Lucy through the window, always watching, always protecting. What's this about? His tone stays polite but carries warning. Maria takes the kind of breath you take before jumping off a cliff. Mr. Harrison, I've worked here 15 years. I've seen families in every kind of crisis. I know when something's not what it seems. His jaw tightens. If you're suggesting, I'm not suggesting anything about you as a father, but Lucy can see, and you're both carrying this secret like it's made of broken glass. The color drains from his face so fast Maria worries he might faint. His mouth opens, closes, opens again like a fish drowning in air. That's impossible, the specialists confirmed. Mr. Harrison, I've watched her track steam with her eyes, reach for things without searching. She almost helped Mr. Baker when he stumbled. She sees everything. His hands ball into fists, then slowly uncurl like dying flowers. He looks through the window at Lucy, still frozen in place, those dark glasses reflecting nothing and hiding everything. You don't understand, he whispers. Then help me understand. Because that little girl is living in a prison she built herself, and it's killing her slowly. I can see it, can't you? Robert's shoulders drop. For the first time since Maria has known him, he looks every one of his 48 years, maybe more. If you're right and I'm not saying you are, what am I supposed to do? Force her to see? Take away the only control she has left? Talk to her. Find the truth. Whatever it is can't be worse than this elaborate lie you're both living. He looks at her then, really looks at her. You have children? A daughter. 16. Then you know how far you'd go to protect them, even from themselves. I also know that sometimes protecting them means forcing them to face what they're running from. Robert returns to the table like a man walking to his own execution. Each step measured, inevitable. His expensive shoes, the only tell of his wealth, whisper across linoleum that's seen 40 years of small-town secrets. He sits. The vinyl booth exhales beneath his weight. Lucy. Her name comes out cracked, a father's voice finding its breaking point. We need to talk. The fork becomes a weapon in Lucy's hand, grip so tight her knuckles bleach white. About what? About the miracle neither of us wants to name. The diner holds its breath. Even the coffee maker stops gurgling. My eyes are broken, the doctors said. Lucy. Softer now. Robert's hand crosses the table, palm up, waiting. Can you see me? The silence stretches like taffy, sweet and terrible. Maria finds herself counting 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, the way she taught Rosa to count between lightning and thunder. No. But Lucy's voice cracks on the single syllable, and her free hand rises to adjust sunglasses that don't need adjusting a tell as obvious as any poker player's. Sweetheart, please. Maria has noticed things. God forgive me, I've wondered too. The way you found that fork last month. How you knew Mrs. Patterson had dyed her hair before anyone mentioned it. You're wrong. Both of you. Lucy's voice rises, sharp enough to draw blood. I'm blind. I'm broken. That's who I am now. Robert reaches across the table, captures his daughter's hands with infinite gentleness. The doctors said the virus damaged your optic nerves. But sometimes, Lucy, bodies heal in ways we don't expect. Sometimes God gives back what he takes. Stop! The word explodes from Lucy like vomit. Just stop. If you can see, even a little bit, we need to know. We can get you help. Better help. I don't want help. But he had... She jerks upward, violent as a seizure. Her elbow catches the milk glass. It tips, white liquid racing across Formica toward the edge, toward the floor, toward disaster. Lucy's hand shoots out, precise, perfect, impossible, catches the glass mid-fall. The universe stops. Milk drips through her fingers. Behind dark sunglasses, tears stream down 11-year-old cheeks. The performance is over. The fiction collapses. Everyone sees it. Robert. Maria. Mr. Baker freezing with coffee halfway to his lips. Jenny in the doorway with empty plates. Joe emerging from the kitchen, spatula forgotten. Lucy stands frozen, hand still gripping the saved glass, becoming a statue of her own revealed truth. Oh, sweetheart. Robert's voice breaks completely. He stands, moves around the table, pulls his shaking daughter into his arms. How long have you been able to see? The answer comes muffled against his chest, but Maria hears every word with terrible clarity. 6 months, maybe longer. First shadows, then shapes, then everything. But Mom got better before she died. The doctors said she was getting better, and then she died. If I get better, you'll die too. God will take you away like he took her. That's how it always works. The diner doesn't just stay silent. It weeps. Robert pulls back from the embrace, kneels down to Lucy's eye level. His hands cup her tear-stained face with the gentleness of holding broken birds. Lucy, look at me. Please. Really look at me. She keeps her face turned down, shoulders shaking. I can't. Yes, you can. Take off your sunglasses, sweetheart. No! She jerks backward, hands flying up to hold the glasses in place. If I take them off, everything changes. Everything ends. You'll go back to work. You'll meet someone new. You'll forget about me. Lucy. Mom was getting better. The words rip from her throat. She laughed at my jokes again. She made plans for summer vacation. She promised we'd go to Disney World when she got well. And then she died. Just stopped breathing while I was at school. The getting better killed her. Robert's face crumbles. Maria presses her fist to her mouth, tasting salt. And then I got sick, Lucy continues, her small body vibrating with suppressed sobs. And I went blind. And suddenly you were there. Every morning, every night, reading to me. Holding my hand, choosing me over everything else. The only good thing that came from the bad thing. Because I love you. Because I'm broken. The words explode like shrapnel. If I'm not broken anymore, you'll go back to being the father who missed my school plays. Who sent presents instead of presents. Who loved me but loved work more. Robert staggers like she's physically struck him. His mouth opens but no words come. I started seeing shadows in May, Lucy whispers. Then shapes, then colors, then everything. But I couldn't tell you, because what if fixing me breaks us? Oh, Lucy. Robert's voice is raw meat, bleeding. Is that what you think? That my love for you depends on you needing me, doesn't it? The question hangs between them like a blade. Maria steps forward then, unable to watch this child bleed out her fears alone. She kneels beside Lucy, her knees protesting against the hard floor. Lucy, I'm Maria. I serve you pancakes every week. Can I tell you something? Lucy doesn't respond, but she doesn't pull away either. I have a daughter, Rosa. When she was 12, her father left us, just packed up and disappeared. And you know what I did? I pretended everything was fine, smiled at work, laughed at customers' jokes. Never let anyone see me cry. I thought if I performed happiness long enough, it would become real. Did it? Lucy's voice is tiny. No, it just made me lonelier. Because the people who really love us, they don't need us to be perfect or broken or anything except real. Your dad doesn't love you because you need him. He loves you because you're Lucy, his daughter. That doesn't change with your eyesight. But what if? There's no what if, Robert interrupts, his voice steady now. You could see perfectly, run marathons, fly to the moon, you'd still be my daughter, my priority. My whole heart walking around outside my body. Lucy's hands slowly rise to her sunglasses. Stop. Tremble. Then remove them. Her eyes are brown like her mother's. Wide. Terrified. Beautiful. And seeing everything. 2 months pass before Maria sees them again. The diner continues its rhythm, coffee percolating, regulars complaining, Jenny dropping plates. But table 7 stays empty every Tuesday. The absence throbs like a phantom limb. Maria goes through the motions. Smile, pour, clean, repeat. But worry has taken up residence in her chest. Did she do right? Did her truth-telling heal or harm? Rosa notices her distraction. Finds her staring at table 7 during dinner prep at home. They needed time, Mom, Rosa says, wise as only 16 can be. Healing isn't instant. Then, on a crystalline December morning, the bell chimes at 8:15. Maria looks up from the coffee machine. Robert and Lucy stand in the doorway, snow dusting their shoulders like grace. Everything has changed. Lucy's dark glasses are gone. Her brown eyes scan the diner, openly nervous, but brave. She looks directly at Maria and offers a small, real smile. Robert keeps his hand on her shoulder, but he's not guiding anymore, just connecting. They take table 7. Maria approaches with the coffee pot, her heart drumming a complicated rhythm. It's good to see you both, she manages. Maria. Robert's voice carries new warmth. We owe you an apology, and our thanks, and probably our lives. You don't owe. We do. He glances at Lucy, who nods. After that day, we found someone, Dr. Eleanor Marshall. She specializes in childhood trauma and grief. Lucy speaks up, her voice stronger than Maria has ever heard it. She explained about neuroplasticity, how sometimes after trauma, the brain shuts down functions that aren't really damaged, and sometimes, when it feels safe again, those functions come back. The blindness was real, but so was the healing. My vision probably returned gradually over months, Lucy continues. But I couldn't let it, because in my mind, healing equaled dying. Mom healed, then died. So staying broken felt safer. Maria sets down the coffee pot and does something she's never done in 15 years. She sits in the booth across from them. How are you now? How are you now? Lucy meets her eyes directly. Scared, but getting better. Dr. Marshall says I don't have to be brave all at once, just honest, one day at a time. We're taking it slow, Robert adds. Lucy's going back to school after winter break, half days at first. And Dad's taking some meetings again, Lucy adds. And though her voice wavers, she manages to continue. Not traveling yet, but working from home some. Because, she glances at her father, who nods encouragingly. Because love doesn't depend on proximity or need. It just exists. Maria feels her eyes burn with tears she won't shed here. That's beautiful, sweetheart. They order their usual, but this time, Lucy cuts her own pancakes without counting, reaches for her milk without hesitation, lives in the light she'd been terrified would kill everything she loved. The other regulars pretend not to stare. Mr. Baker raises his coffee cup in a quiet toast. Jenny stops dropping things long enough to smile. Progress, Maria thinks. isn't always forward motion. Sometimes it's just opening your eyes. After breakfast, Lucy excuses herself to the restroom. Maria watches her navigate without performance, without the elaborate choreography of false blindness. When the door closes, Robert leans forward. She still has nightmares, wakes up in darkness, panicking that her sight is gone again. Or that I'm gone. That must be hard. It's terrifying. For both of us. But Dr. Marshall says it's normal. The mind takes time to trust good things. He wraps his hands around his coffee cup like he's holding something precious. I had no idea she was carrying all that fear. About Catherine. About me. I thought keeping close would make her feel safe. Instead, I was confirming her worst fear, that she had to be broken to be loved. Maria thinks about her own fears, the ones she's carried since Rosa's father left. We do our best with what we know. I keep thinking about what would have happened without you. How long would she have kept pretending? Years? Her whole life? Children are stronger than we think, but sometimes they need someone outside the story to see the truth. Robert reaches into his jacket, pulls out an envelope, slides it across the table. What's this? Open it. Inside is a check for $50,000, made out to Rosa Hernandez. Maria's hands shake. I can't. This is Rosa's college fund. Don't even try to refuse. You gave my daughter back her life. You gave me back my daughter. Not the performance of her, but actually her. Mr. Harrison. Robert, please. And there's more. Lucy returns, sliding in beside her father. She's holding a small, wrapped box. This is from me, she says, pushing it toward Maria. Inside is a silver bracelet with a single charm, an open eye, delicately crafted, almost seeming to see. I picked it out myself, Lucy says, at the jewelry store downtown, the first thing I bought while actually looking at it, not pretending to feel it, actually seeing it. Maria fastens it around her wrist, unable to speak. We're also starting something. Robert continues. A foundation, clear sight. For children with conversion disorders, when trauma becomes physical symptoms, it's more common than people think. We want you on the board, Lucy adds. You see things others miss. That's what these families need. But I'm just a waitress. You're someone who refused to let a child disappear into her own fear, Robert corrects. That's everything. They leave after lingering over second coffees. Lucy hugs Maria fierce and real, nothing performed about it. That afternoon, Maria shows Jenny the bracelet and the check. You know what this means? Jenny says, grinning. What? You're basically a hero. The waitress who saw through the darkness. Maria touches the bracelet, thinking about brown eyes finally free to see the world as it really is, dangerous and beautiful, and worth the risk. No, she says. I just refused to look away. 6 months later, on a June morning that feels like possibility, Miller's Diner hosts its first Clearsight Foundation breakfast. The small restaurant overflows with families, doctors, reporters. Maria wears her best dress, bought with her first board member stipend, and the silver bracelet catches light like a promise kept. Lucy stands at a makeshift podium by the window, transformed. She wears a dress covered in sunflowers, hair loose around her shoulders. When she speaks, her voice carries across the room like truth finally told. For 3 years, I lived in a darkness that existed only in my mind. Not because my eyes couldn't see, but because my heart was too afraid to look. I thought staying broken could keep the people I loved from leaving. I thought God made trades, one person's healing for another's dying. Robert watches from the front row, tears streaming unchecked down his face. But a waitress named Maria saw what nobody else did. She saw that sometimes the biggest disabilities aren't in our bodies, they're in our fears. She had the courage to speak truth when everyone else accepted the lie, when I was too scared to stop performing. Rosa squeezes Maria's hand. Her daughter, now accepted to Boston University with a full scholarship supplemented by Robert's gift. Today, we launch Clearsight to help other children trapped in the same darkness, children whose bodies manifest what their hearts can't express. We've already identified 43 cases in Massachusetts alone. Kids who went blind, deaf, paralyzed not because their bodies broke, but because their spirits did. A woman in the back starts sobbing. Later, Maria learns her son hasn't spoken since witnessing his father's death. Recovery isn't instant, Lucy continues. I still reach for sunglasses that aren't there. Still test my vision every morning, afraid it will vanish. But doctor, Marshall taught me something vital. Healing doesn't mean forgetting the darkness. It means choosing to trust the light, even when that light reveals things we'd rather not see. After the speeches end, people mingle over Jenny's pancakes. A young mother approaches Maria, holding the hand of a 7-year-old boy wearing thick, dark glasses. Is it true? She whispers desperately. Can children really recover from this? Maria kneels to the boy's level, remembers another child, another pair of dark glasses, another terrible secret. Sometimes, she says gently, miracles aren't about fixing what's broken. They're about having courage to look at the truth, to speak it, to trust that love doesn't require our suffering. The boy tilts his head. For just a moment, Maria swears she sees his eyes tracking the movement of her bracelet. Later, as the crowd disperses, Lucy finds Maria cleaning tables. Old habits die hard. Thank you, Lucy says simply, for seeing me when I couldn't see myself. You were always there, Maria replies, just waiting for permission to be real. They stand together in the afternoon light, no shadows between them. Two people who learned that sometimes love means refusing to look away from hard truths. Sometimes it means speaking when silence would be easier. And always, always it means believing that people are stronger than their fears. True love doesn't need perfection. It just needs truth.